Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 25 with the Charlotte Silverwolves. We had an interesting off season. I don't know that we're a better team, but we're certainly a baseball team. And that I can promise you is the truth. First of all, as always, Ironhead 34 helpfully reminds us that we are in fact only entitled to 25 players, not 26. I'm not going to carry 13 pitchers, so um, Colton Hartman seems like the obvious odd man out. It just really doesn't seem like he does much for me, especially since he's starting to get worse. If we take a look here, he's losing velocity pretty drastically. I'm going to try to flip him, and if I can't, I'll just release him. But I'm hopeful that somebody somewhere is going to be like, yeah, we could use a bullpen upgrade, potentially. What if I ate his entire contract? Oh, I didn't mean to only say batters. Pitchers would be fine, too. Nah, well. I'll just release him. I'm not going to overthink this one. He can enjoy his pay it all now. He can enjoy his small basket of cash, and maybe somebody else will sign him and give him another opportunity. We've got a Prince Trautman decision to make at the end of this season, but I think the far more important decision is what do we do with Sergio Carrillo? He just won the Cy Young Award. I need to see him give me one more good season, but I have so much money in reserve that if I want him to be stick with us, he will stick with us. I have no doubt about that. So this lineup looks similar to last season's. That's because it is. Um, Other than the addition of Eric and Fuso, starting from day one, because you got him around the trade deadline last time, this is basically last year's lineup, which wasn't that great a lineup. But we are playing Albert Morales, leading him off, which I think is an interesting decision. Maybe he'll make it work. I don't know. We definitely have plenty of ways to get better on this roster, though, so that's something we're going to have to look out for during the season itself. I would love for David Gaona to have a fantastic season and possibly get called up to really give this offense a kickstart. He's got so much raw potential. He just needs to start doing something with that raw potential, and I think that starts this season. He has to hit double A by the end of the season. I think that's a bare minimum requirement. Our defense is solid, but neither of my infielders are great offensively. Prince Trotman could be if he gets lucky. But I don't know that he is going to get that lucky. And he is still fairly error prone, so we're going to have some choices to make. Our pitching staff is also the same as last series as well, with the addition of Jesus Archuleta taking a big step forward. And a couple of relievers. And Mr. Juan Ospina. And where's the other dude? And Pat McCauley. But other than that, this is last year's team. We're basically hoping that we can take the same team and get good or better performances, which is something I certainly hope is possible. Maybe Sergio Zapata to capture a little bit of his previous magic and dominate the league once again would be pretty lovely too. But not everything is the same. Our new backup catcher is Caben Kimmins, um, getting his opportunity to be a backup catcher. Chris Blevins was a Rule 5 draft pick that offers us some flexibility. He's also a hard worker, so I like his bat. Mitch Couples makes the roster from opening day. There's a very realistic chance that there's a where he replaces Prince Trotman sooner rather than later. And although our outfield isn't necessarily fantastic, it is pretty deep. Guys like Joey Newton, Eric Enfuso, Michael Bush, and Albert Morales all have something to offer, which is excellent to see. Let's see what happens. So let us baseball, friends and neighbors, and see what we can do this season. Both JD Moore and Jeremy Dorsey have cleared waivers, which is nice to see. It's good to hear that. Now, to be clear, I could be weaponizing my payroll room and just finding an interesting looking, highly paid veteran and add them to the club. I don't think it's worth it. I genuinely don't think it's worth it. I think our far better solution is simply letting players continue to develop, show us what they can do at the major league level, and then see who is worth keeping around and who is not. Gallegos is improving. That's lovely. Alfredo Rosado is getting better. We're getting players that are improving. They're just not improving to the point where they are automatically, oh my god, I have to make room for them. Damn, son. I mean, Sergio Creo's like, oh, Cy Young, that was a nice warm up. What if I was even better this season? And I'm here for that. Mike Bush missing 1 to 2 weeks isn't really a huge deal. I'm gonna find an outfielder to take his place. Um, Fredo Rosado, not really. Chris Fournier, meh. Do I have any decent outfielders that need an opportunity? I could call up Gaona. I don't think that's appropriate, though. I think he's still far too green. I mean, there is Josh Burt Knight, who's at least got the fielding capabilities. I almost feel like, though, the answer is Bryce Eldridge, so I think we'll go with that. And then we can always waive him again as we need to. Because I don't think too many people are going to be like, holy shit, Bryce Eldridge, that's the secret to an amazing season. I just don't see that coming. Josh Thompson is still relatively solid. Um, I'm gonna right now have him rehab, and then we can talk about what to do with him. But the answer obviously is eventually going to be sending Josh Batty to the minor leagues. Like I think his time has already come and gone. Um, Now see, this is becoming a worrying trend. Sergio Zapata becoming fragile is not something we like to see. I'm gonna leave the roster spot open because Mike Bush is about to come back in a couple days anyway, and we'll just let Mike Bush take the roster spot. There you go. I mean, I guess this means we get Joey Newton or Bryce Eldridge some playing time, but when your team is kind of a one-trick pony and that pony keeps breaking down, that's not a great sign. Hey Nate Quinn, you have opened up a roster spot for Josh Thompson. Jesus Christ, what the fuck is with every pitcher in the known universe getting hurt all of a sudden? Let's get John Tata up. He can throw a couple innings here and there. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we had one season we were off just enough that we had a chance to win the lottery. That would be really beneficial to our long term development as a team. I'd love to get a really good draft pick, and get an elite level prospect. That would be pretty dope. Casey Choate is quickly becoming to a point where he's becoming inevitable as a starting pitcher. I am not keeping Josh Batty on the roster a second longer than I have to. I think I'm really waiting for somebody to get healthy. Uh, Either Lesko or Quinn, and then we're back, baby. How's it going this year? Well, our offense is fucking awful. The only player that is hitting with any level of skill is Dusty Hackett, which is absolutely hilarious. Like, Dusty Hackett randomly becoming an MVP candidate would be the funniest possible outcome. But yeah, Eric Fuso is fine, I guess. He's not the greatest, but he's okay. Gunnar Henderson is rapidly decaying, and I mean that in every sense of the word decaying. Joey Newton's doing okay. He's not the worst, but we are very far from a capable offensive team. Even though Alejandro Rivera is off to a really ice cold start, so gotta hope we can figure it out a bit. Unfortunately, I can't bench Josh Batty because he's having a really good start to his season. Um, which is interesting. Um, we're making a bunch of errors. Is it Prince Trotman? That's the problem. Is it quite literally Prince Trotman? Yeah, it is. I have to let Trotman play a little bit longer, and see what he looks like at the end of May, but I think that's a real problem, potentially. Alright, so Zapata can come back. That means Bryce Eldridge is actually reasonably hot. I'm gonna send Mike Bush to the minors for. No, that's being very foolish. I'm just gonna try to get Bryce Aldridge through waivers and get Zapata back. We get Nate Quinn back, which I think is a goodbye to Josh Thompson? Question mark. Yeah, it's goodbye to Josh Thompson. Like, thank goodness for Eric and Fuso discovering how good he can be, because he has been carrying this lineup pretty effectively. Um None of these pitchers are covering themselves in glory exactly, but I think Milanes is having the roughest start to the season, so I think he's the one who goes down for Lesko. And then we'll see where we're at. Oh, that's funny. How about you refuse to be a jerk? Yeah, I'm eating salary to get rid of somebody who's actually not that bad. I'd rather just eat the salary by cutting him. So yeah, I'm gonna release Bryce Eldridge. That's fine. I can't figure out how we're playing so well this season when the lineup is such an obvious weakness. I mean, part of it is that Eric and Fusa has actually been really good, which is a huge surprise. A huge surprise. I certainly would not have predicted that the best player on the Charlotte Silverwolves would be Eric and Fuso, but I'm happy about it. Randy Abulafia. Okay. Oh, are you somebody that got taken in the Rule 5? Yeah, you are. Okay. Look, we're not scoring very consistently, but I think our pitching staff has been so good this season that, like, we've still been able to carry things pretty effectively, which is really cool. I'm really excited that we have this new gear that we're remaking ourselves on the fly. Mitch Couples is getting even better. He's a pretty solid all-around shortstop. The only thing that Trotman has over him is just experience. But yeah, Trotman's not coming back, I don't think. I just don't think that's a good use of our resources. David Gaona is improving, and he is in Double A. And he is playing fairly effectively. He's not dominating or anything like that. But he's at least holding his own. I just need to see him develop a little bit farther. But I do think he's got a real chance to make this roster by the time rosters expand. I think giving him a cup of coffee makes sense. It is. Oh, Chris Perry is bouncing around the league. Good for him, man. For an eighth round pick, he's had a pretty good career, you know? There's not many players that were eighth round draft picks that can claim a pair of World Series rings, but he can. And that's good. That makes me feel happy. So Zapata and Fuso are doing great. Dusty Hackett is still performing pretty well. Rivera is the opposite of heating up. Like, he's not cooling off, I guess. Which is a shame because he's getting paid a lot of money to be better than this, but whatever. Aguilera has been a real disappointment, and that's really sad because we need his still relatively potent bat to really help us carry the load a little bit. I think Prince Trotman is just not good enough, point blank. He's too walk adverse and doesn't have a well enough. Well, he's just so obviously flawed that I just don't know why we continue to play him, other than the fact that he does have this major league pedigree. But he's not coming back. If I thought I could get a decent return for him, I would trade him and start Couples in a second. In fact, maybe that's what I have to do. Because maybe he doesn't have a better. Maybe he's just not going to get any better than this. Which means I have to take what I can get. Any greens? I see one green and Jake Donahue. Hmm. There is a lot to like about him. He has the kind of contact bat though, where I'm a little concerned about his long-term flexibility, but he is a definite possibility. I don't really need a reliever at the moment. Oh, maybe I do. I don't know. Eh, the only thing about Salcedo that gives me pause is the fact he's still so young. But if I could get Salcedo and somebody else, I think I actually prefer that trade. Because a guy who can legitimately play the infield and has this level of power with this much good character is a really good player to have in your system. All right. You're not gonna give me Jorge Guerrero. I'm not gonna waste my time. CJ Randolph isn't bad actually. He's not great, but he's not bad either. I wonder if he would be willing to give me Randolph. Nah, okay. Edgar Bravo just sucks. Man, I haven't gone for one of these guys in a while. If you give me Saucedo and Cerrillo, I would take that deal. And Pigeon South's doing great. Like that's really what's holding us afloat at this moment. It's not going to take a lot more to make this deal happen. You could have Mr. Spoon here. I'm sorry the fans are bummed by losing Trotman, but I had to make a decision, and I think I made the right one. Ormerod gets the roster spot, but hopefully Couples will be the one to play shortstop. I guess it could have also been Salazar. That also would have been acceptable. I feel like Salazar needs to be given the shot over Ormerod, actually. Unless I just return Blevins. I think is I like how hard a worker he is, and I do have some, at least, delusions, possibly. Yeah, let's send down Ormerod and use Salazar instead. The thing is, and I get why the fans are a little bit bummed because I know he was super popular, he was never coming back. He was just, his flaws were way too prominent to have been given another chance, in my opinion. Like, he's an offensive performer that has some real gifts, but is also deeply, deeply flawed. He doesn't draw walks, which means he's not very consistent. It had to happen. And I think we got an okay return for it. All right. A lot of coaches need new contracts. The vibes are pretty great right now. I think we just go ahead and keep the band together. Oh right, I can't re-sign you, but I can re-sign Carlos Vidal and the minor league coaches. There's been a lot of continuity at the major league level, and I'm pretty happy about that. But I guess it is probably kind of frustrating if you are a coach waiting for an opportunity that just never comes. Fucking Rodolfo Guerrero, man. Rodolfo fucking Guerrero, man. I mean, Eric Enfuso is playing like a fucking MVP candidate. which is just completely bonkers to me. Like, of all the Charlotte Silver Wolves to be playing at an MVP level, Eric Enfuso was just not on my radar. Which is just fucking wild, man. Alright, are we still not starting Casey Cho? Are we still letting him go in the bullpen? Okay, good, you're not. You're actually starting him now, which is what you should be doing. Damn, Zapata, 3 bombs. I don't want to alarm you, but all last season, Sergio Zapata had 19 home runs, and he has 23 this season. That feels like a good thing. That feels like he's baseballing at a fairly high level. All right. I'm gonna rip off this band-aid. We're gonna re-sign Carrillo. If I can get a reasonable deal. Oh my lord. Nope. Mm-mm. I think we wait. Yes, I think we wait. Because here's the thing. We have to keep Zapata. Unless Zapata proves he is no longer worthy of our time and attention, we have to keep him. If we lose Zapata, this offense just disintegrates, and I don't have a ready replacement for him. So I think no matter what, Zapata stays. Which means we're gonna have to probably back up the Brinks truck and pay him like 30 million a year. And I can keep kicking this Carrillo can down the road a little bit farther, but damn. It's rough. It's equally rough because of Masuda. Um, who's having a good year, and it's actually had 3 good years for us, but isn't worth what he's being paid. So I guess one alternative is we get rid of Masuda and then re-sign Carrillo. That is a possibility. We get Paul Skeens back. I don't know that I want him anymore, to be honest with you. Let's rehab him and see if somebody gets hurt. I feel pretty strong that Zapata and Enfuso are going to be all-stars this year. I feel pretty strongly about that. Carrillo and Jarvis both made it. Quinn made it. Zapata and Enfuso made it. And nobody else. And I'm completely fine with that. Damn, Nelson Escalante looks human this year. That's fucking wild, man. I guess his issue is always going to be his power is going to be inconsistent because he is so driven on just hitting doubles. So that's going to be an interesting thing as he continues to play. Prospect. Mr. Gayona made it. Ernesto Olivas made it. Nice. And then we're going to zip on down to the draft. And Paul Skeens is injured again because of course he is. Alright. First year draft. Alright, so we got 3 blue chippers left in the draft by the time we get to pick. Chris Kuntz has some pretty cool features. He's going to keep the ball down, he's going to throw strikes, but he doesn't throw very hard. And while he's smart, He's only got one really good pitch, which is his changeup. I feel like he's not a great fit. RJ Morley is an incredible hitter who absolutely has no business playing in the field. Josh North can at least stand around at third base and not embarrass himself. I think because Morley has these extra character traits and is so good offensively, we will find a position for him. Let's make it Morley. Oh, sorry, and I meant to offer him his salary demands. All right. I want to keep it going with offensive prospects for right now. What is Zach Kish's deal? He's a pretty solid hitter who works hard, but he's not a leader, and he's a corner outfielder, and he's gonna want like all of the money, right? Hmm. Andy Gillens has nothing to write home about. This draft has significantly dropped off in quality. I like Mike Villano. I like Luis Lomas quite a bit. Mike Woolman doesn't do anything poorly, but also doesn't do anything terribly well. Um, I feel like Andy Gillens is a decent choice, and I think we'll draft him. I don't feel great about it, but the truth of the matter is, we don't have a ton of better choices at this point. Phil Sullivan is a hard tossing lefty. He's got some good pitches and a nice cutter. I think he is exactly the kind of player that I'd like on my team. I'm gonna take Zach Kish and I will give him his salary demands because I think he has enough upside that he's worth it. He only wants a little over 10 million. What if I offered him 12 million? Submit. That should be enough to get him to sign. Chris McMillian. Uh, I thought his nickname was Shrek for a minute. It's Shark instead, which is far more disappointing. He's a really good pitcher. Like, he's got a ton of upside. I think it's more than worthwhile drafting him and giving him his salary demands as well. Let's use all this free agent space for something productive, right? He just wants over 8 million. What if I gave you 10 million? How does that grab you? I've got to do something with my money, and I'm probably not going to invest in a jerk. No, I like a lot about Tommy Einberger. I don't like his batting eye, and I don't like that he's not a great defender, but he's also completely free, and that makes me happy. Do we have any other high contact guys left? Yes, we do. Mr. Humberto Feinblatt, but he's a big no from me. I think there's some interest in him, and I don't think he's going to be a bad play, but he's also not going to be a great one. Um, for a player whose offensive skill set is going to be this jumpy, I need better secondary characteristics. He just doesn't have them. Alejandro Ayala is exactly what I'm looking for. Because I think he can handle any infield position. He's a decent hitter. I think Ayala is a great choice, and I will happily offer him 700,000 clams. It just makes sense, right? It just makes sense. I'll take a risk on Porter Fairn. Let me look for pitching potential. Any big stuff guys? Jonathan McElfresh. It's exactly what this world needs. Drafted. Who else is of interest is left in this draft? Mike Colstock. He's fine. Um, for a 10th round pick, a guy like Mike Colstock is completely acceptable. Is he going to amount to very much in the major leagues? I doubt it, but that doesn't bother me either. You know? We have Ed the Cunningham. He's not great, but whatever. I want at least one decent center fielder who can actually stick at center field. Do we have any of that? If I were to do fielding ratings, yeah, let's make this like a super powered. Oh, I could just make a new view, couldn't I? We do that right quick. So I want to clear this tab. I want you to give me fielding potential. And we're going to call this, wait for it, fielding potential. To have anybody who can handle center field at a decent level. Mike Yandel can play center field pretty well, but he's a terrible hitter. Wait, how do you have a what? How do you have a potential center field rating when you suck at it? Like you're terrible. You're genuinely awful, and I do not trust you in the slightest. I mean, let's get Pat Hotel here, right? He's just good at every position. That's an easy choice. A really good defensive catcher is a pretty damn good value at this level of the draft. I think he's a fine choice. Let's go out to pitching potential. Any other big stuff guys that have at least some chance to develop enough control to make it work? I will draft a Brett Ledford. It's the 14th round, guys. It's not like we're likely to find future Hall of Famers here. Good old Crispy Jeff here. I'm noticing a pattern. These are a lot of guys that don't have great control. I wonder if the secret is to do what the Guardians do and find people who have. Wait, what? If your stuff control are this good, why are you rated so poorly? Oh, because you have no movement whatsoever. I'm willing to take a chance on that. Chris Fournier. Don't I have a guy named Chris Fournier? Well, regardless, I have another guy named Chris Fournier. I am your source for all the Chris Fournier news you could ever want. Good old Vince the Stroop Waffle is pretty terrible. Any batting potential left? You know what, Sean Jonas? You're in. Any medium thumper? Ken Carey's actually not bad. He's even a reasonably good catcher. Like, this is a pretty damn good value for the 19th round, even if it's pretty obvious why he fell. Because of character concerns. Yeah, alright, Danny Hype. You win. And draft completed. I feel like we're kind of in a rut where we're definitely getting useful players that could even have a chance to make the roster at some point, but I'm not finding many stars in the draft. And I think that's just purely a function of where we've been drafting for so long. I don't know. I don't know that there's a way around that. I don't know if there's a solution to that problem that makes a difference. I just don't. Um, mm. Sean Lusko's gonna miss 4 weeks. I mean, Jesus Mendoza is proven that he needs an opportunity, so an opportunity he shall have. Sorry, Prince. You're like, fuck yeah, I'm getting called up. And then they're like, not so much, friend, not so much. A week miss by Andy Giacoletto. Yeah, he's cooked. I feel bad for the guy. Like, I genuinely would love to see him keep going just because I think it gets him closer to the Hall of Fame. But I truly think he is our Nomar Garcia Parra, our player that had a tremendous prime and then just injuries robbed him. You know who he really reminds me of? He's not a shortstop, but I think it's very apropos. It's Andrew Jones. Same kind of career, except maybe not as transcendent as Andrew Jones was. And he wasn't as good as young as Andrew Jones, but still, it's a similar pattern where he just got injured. Kellen Bulkley just got paid a shit ton of money. Damn, son. I mean, you weren't gonna get that from me, so whatever. But is there anybody whose contract is coming up that I would like to resign? I don't think so. I want to try to get another ring with Masuda, but other than that, like I genuinely don't know what I should trade for. I mean, I can't make that trade, so. Yeah, the problem is the kinds of players that I want to get rid of are the kinds of players I'm not going to be able to get a piece of very easily. I don't need another reliever, although Gil Anders is pretty decent. I'd rather have Juan Carmona. Truly. I didn't propose anything. Okay, I think their little thing just got confused. I don't need relievers. I think that's the one thing I just don't need. And so, and I'm not giving up Joe Dahlberg, who's arguably going to be better than Puga or Apodaca. So that's a hard no from me. I'm not saying that I'm not willing to trade. I'm saying that the things I want are things that are not being offered to me. Tempting, but no. All right, let's start the day. This is a no. Are there any interesting young players? Kevin Ridley would be fascinating, but I'm not willing to give a lot up for a player of that age. Now, Zach Barber would be a pretty good addition to this lineup. I think there's a lot to like about him. He's also still pretty young, too. It wouldn't cost a lot, but it is costing more than I'm really willing to trade. But let's break this down a little bit. If I'm trading for Zach Barber, it's got to be because I'm trading off Gunnar Henderson. Or alternatively, Aguilera. But I've got to make a roster swap for him. And I don't really want to put Gunnar Henderson back at third base, but I guess I could. Nah, I can't at this point. Would you take Gunnar Henderson? No, you don't want to be traded. That's fair. Eh, no, I'm not gonna do that. I keep meaning to hit this button. Sorry. Okay, Prince Diouf gets them closer. So here's my problem. If I trade you Nelson Navarro, I don't have anywhere to play Barber. So maybe I don't make this trade. I don't think I do. These aren't good offers being made. Honestly, I think the best thing I could do is probably just call up Gaona at some point. No, don't continue the whole day. Just continue to the next sim. No, I don't want relief pitchers. I genuinely don't. Yeah, there's just nothing here. It's kind of an uninteresting trade deadline, to be honest. I know I didn't trade anybody, but I didn't really want anything. You just kept offering me the same garbage over and over again and hoped that I would take it. So the real question is, what do you do about David Gaona? Because I think he's reached a point where he needs. I think we just wait until rosters expand. It'll mean he's not eligible for the postseason roster. That's fine. Um, I'm okay with that. Nate Quinn losing velocity would make me sad. It would make me very displeased. How is Mitch Couples doing? He's actually doing quite well playing shortstop, so that is one good piece of information. Hey, when Win Noseworthy's velocity improves, you know your player development system's pretty good. At least some way in the postseason, I genuinely have no idea what we would accomplish. Paul Skeens, you can just go right back to the rehab assignment. Like, our rotation is really good this year. Like, really stupid good this year. Which is fantastic news. Because that's pretty much what's going to be keeping us afloat for the foreseeable future. And it is a nice thing to have when postseason time comes around, right? Like, that's a nice thing to have. Coronado, I would like Sean Lesko back quite badly. But we are nearing rosters expanding, so I think I just let Lesko rehab. And then we bring him back when rosters have expanded. I'm not catching the Yankees. Um, I'm also not catching Sean Lesko either. But you can work the 60-day IL. It's Jover. Oh, yeah, I can't control that. Sorry, guys. I think I'm making the postseason. I think I think I'm going to clinch a postseason spot any day now. But just as equally, I am not going to be winning the division. All right, roster expansion. Let's go. Mr. Gaona, it is your time to enjoy some home cooking in the major leagues. Prince Diouf definitely gets to make the roster. Dave Amarad, or Murad, I guess. I think JD Moore is a worthy person to call up. Billy Pickering is still not trustworthy enough to be called up, but I like where his head's at. I wish Eric Hassinger had a really good third pitch because that's what's going to limit him in the major leagues. But I think we're going to wait on that. All right. I feel pretty confident that David Guiona's not going to get a huge amount of playing time, and that's completely fine with me. But just the chance to give him maybe a few at bats here and there, see what he can accomplish, is worthwhile to me. Because they're gonna have to put him on the 40-man anyway. Might as well get some actual proper major playing time. Oh no, George Shalhick has retired. Well, let's fix that. Bobby Sumar will not take a promotion, but Ben Fritz would. So let's promote Ben Fritz. Let's get ourselves a new rookie manager. Somebody who is amazing at development. I mean, I asked for amazing. I'm getting pretty good, and I will accept that. There we go, done. It is not lost on me that Dusty Hackett will miss the rest of the season. I'm not going to call up LaCourcier or Edson. I think we just roll one player, one infielder less. Because I've got quite a few, right? Like, there's not like a ton of value in fucking with that shit. Alright. I will go ahead and let Paul Skeens hit the roster too. That's fine. Dusty Hackett is such an interesting player to me because he constantly out hits his actual talent level, but that makes him incredibly unreliable, plus the fact he gets injured a lot. Hmm. You know what, Devon? I'm so desperate right now. You're in. Really? You had to fucking injure him right now. Which means the single best hitter on this team. I mean, he's not missing the postseason roster. Yeah, I'm fine with this postseason roster. I don't feel any need to mess with it. Look, it's gonna come down to whether our arms get the job done anyway. Um, so let's see. Oof. Ernie Jarvis. It wasn't Ernie Jarvis' fault, it was Nate Quinn's fault. Our high priced closer fucked up. That's not a great thing in the postseason. And they even beat Carrillo too. Damn. I mean, we didn't score, right? Like we didn't score runs. So there's basically nothing you can do if you can't score runs. And that was our big weakness this entire season was our ability to hit consistently. Travis Thompson has retired. I think we just move people up. I see no reason not to. I mean, Taylor Jordan is nothing special. Corey Burns is actually better than Taylor Jordan, so let's do a swappy swap of that. And then Chuck Bechtel can be promoted to A-ball. Teach pitching. Roniel, Longa, Irin. I mean, this season we won 97 games. I still don't know how. But our offense just wasn't good enough. It just wasn't capable of performing at the we needed them to. And especially losing Zapata. Like our team has one weakness, injured Zapata, but he's been getting more and more fragile as he's gotten older, which is really sad and really is going to hurt us at some point. Like we're going to hit a wall in the next 3 to 4 seasons unless something drastic happens. Something like David Gaona being like, "This is easy. I'm gonna dominate the major leagues as much as Zapata has, and let Zapata age gracefully." Um, Highly possible, if not probable, though. I'm not saying that Gaona can't do it. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. Um, Mm. I really kind of wish, in hindsight, that Gunnar Henderson retired. And I think I have to let him retire. Like, I have to just end it. I can't pay him the amount of money. Oh, league is looking to expand. Wild. The Portland Gators and the Oklahoma City Seminoles. No. The Apple Sox? I like the Portland Parrots and the Oklahoma City Fighting Falcons on the fact that there's never been a fucking parrot in the city of Portland ever. The Portland Rams, the Oklahoma City Fighting Knights, you know what? Fine. That sounds amazing. Oh, someone in the Silver Wolves retired. Paul Skeens did. Okay. And our manager also retired. Okay. Um I feel like Carlos Vidal has been the man in waiting for so long at this point. I think he has to get the opportunity. I like the fact that he's somebody that's grown with us over the years, and I think he's ready. I mean, I guess the relationship with the players isn't the best. Not compared. Yeah, it's gonna be Austin. I'm sorry, guys. However, Carlos, I will promote you to bench coach. That I think is a very smart decision. What can I make? Oh, does Scott also want to hire his own bench coach? Yeah, he does. Okay, well, that's fine. But to be fair, Scott Austin's also been a really long time too, so I think we also get pretty damn good continuity keeping him around. So that'll be a problem for him to deal with. I'm not going to set our protection roster yet, but we will make other decisions here very quickly here. All right. Even at $13 million, you're just not getting the job done anymore. I'm voiding your contract. Nate Quinn has actually been really awesome, so he's an even easier choice to keep. Oh god, yes, Zapata, please. You've already retired, so that decision was taken out of my hands. Okay. So, what went right this season? What didn't go so right? I mean, Mitch Couples led the league in errors, which is not what I wanted to see. He's not even the error prone. I wonder what his deal is. Hmm. All right. Sergio Zapata is back, baby. But let's not miss Eric Anfuso turning into something genuinely special. Like an elite center fielder who probably is going to win a gold glove, who also combined it with an incredible amount of offense. Like he was a lifesaver. However, this number is not happening again. So we have to take that into account. As amazing as he was this season, he will be worse next year, most probably. But still, a fantastic season out of him. And then this is where the problem hits. It just disintegrates after the top two. Like, we have a bunch of players that are useful, but very few that are exceptional. or even really worth paying attention to. Alejandro Rivera is what he is. I think at this point, I just had to accept the fact he's going to be a 2-win player that I'm overpaying for, which is gross, but whatever. Mitch Couples is fine. Um, I have no problem with him, and we'll keep him around for a while. Dusty Hackett, again, is fine for what he is. I think Gunnar Henderson has to go at this point. I think I've kept his career going as long as it's going to go, and I just think someone else has to be the one to take him on. He can't play third base anymore. His offense isn't that good. I think he's cooked. And even like $4.2 million is just not worth it to me. I know he's super popular, and I know the fans will be sad when he goes. So I guess there's some value in bringing him along as a bench guy, but he's not starting again. That much is for certain. I'll have a think about it because I don't want to spoil the relationship with the fans. Joey Newton was fine, but not thrilling. Albert Morales was meh. Mike Bush was meh. Alejandro Aguilera was even more meh. Like this was not a good lineup. Outside of the top two of Zapata and Enfuso. Without the two of them playing as well as they did, like we're completely lost. We need more offensive talent, and that just has to happen at this point. Whether that's just saying, hey, David Gayona, go after it, maybe, but our pitching staff is mighty good though. Creo and Jarvis had fantastic seasons. Creo a little better than Jarvis. Masuda was great. Archuleta was great. Quinn was great. Ospina was great. Choate was great. Like, yeah, there's some sketchy pitchers toward the back here, but really our pitching staff carried us when our offense needed to be carried. Archuleta is a really nice little find here, though, and I'm really proud of how good he looks. I just feel like bringing back Gunnar Henderson is just franchise practice at this point. I don't just want to take huge pay cuts. But the thing is, he also wants a guaranteed roster spot, and I'm just not willing to give him that anymore. So, I'll be curious to hear what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you think it's worth bringing him back for one more season or two because he is so popular among the fans. I mean, at this point, he's played more games with me than he ever played with Baltimore. So, if and when he goes into the Hall of Fame, it's going to be in my cap. Which is cool. I mean, he's going to be up for several Hall of Famer. I don't know. Zapata has been an amazing player up to this point. I definitely cannot let him walk in free agency. And yeah, that's just not going to happen. So we're going to have some interesting decisions to make at the end of this season. At the end of next season, excuse me. But yeah, we need more talent. Top to bottom, we need more offensive talent somehow, some way. And I don't know where it's going to come from, but it's got to come from somewhere. I'm just gonna go ahead and really quickly, just casually start chucking people onto the 40-man, just so I don't forget. Is there anybody that really, really sucks that is on the 40-man? Not really. Well, we're gonna have some spaces open up as people depart and find greener pastures, so... And Juan Satino sucks. No, it doesn't suck that much. We can keep him around. Because we're not letting Joe Dahlberg go. I still believe in Joe Dahlberg has a chance to be a pretty damn good pitcher. So, whenever we let somebody else go, then we can. No, I'm not going to Florin Cristanel. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Zam. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna have an intro. Oh, we also need to make room for Padilla too. Padilla could be our answer for space. I don't know. Somebody's gonna be playing somewhere though. I can tell you that much. But that's gonna be it for this episode. Hopefully you have enjoyed this series thus far. If you have, remember to like and subscribe. You can comment down below to let me know how you think the series is going. But until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.